Hi, I'm Stunning Stella Cheeks.
And I'm the Enigma Erin Klein.
And this is
Not Your Demographic.
We used to be a feminist wrestling podcast.
Shockingly, we'd rather talk about literally anything else now.
Welcome to the podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to our podcast. I wish that you guys could see what I look like right now.
Maybe I'll take like a screenshot of it. Yeah, Erin is just sitting in the dark. So I'm just staring at, I can kind of see the shape of her head. Not really. It's mostly just like an amorphous blob in the dark. Very spooky.
Yep, that's me coming to you from the depths of the woods. I'm not. Actually, I'm sitting on the floor in my bedroom. There is a light on. It just apparently is not being picked up by my computer screen at all. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's like you are like a antimatter right now.
That's me.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I had a very relaxed Thanksgiving weekend, so I'm feeling pretty good right now. My husband got his COVID booster the day before Thanksgiving, and so I got my Tdap vaccine. And he got his flu shot. So we spent all of Thanksgiving and like the following 2 days doing fucking nothing. It was great. It was so wonderful. How are you doing?
I am exhausted, but okay.
Yeah.
It's one of those, I made it through the other side, and so now I'm like, oh, I can breathe. I had family in town for like 4 days. We hosted Thanksgiving. It was like 3 different families melding together. It was very chaotic. It was a lot. So I'm just coming down from that. Feeling nice to be in my house by myself.
Yeah, I'm alone in my house for the first time in like ages. It's really nice.
It feels really nice. It feels really good. Just sit here with a cat in my lap and nobody to bother me. I like it. I prefer it.
Yeah. Yeah, you used to live alone. That's not something I've ever done before. I've always lived in a house chock full of people.
It's so funny that I lived alone, too, because I'm, like, kind of a fraidy cat. And I lived alone at peak fraidy cat. Like,
yeah.
I literally
Those
stopped
things
watching.
are related.
Yeah, that's probably true. I'll just sleep on the floor. Nobody can kill me if I'm down here.
That logic doesn't check out at all.
Well, I'm still alive, so who's laughing now?
It's still me.
Oh, have you been reading anything? Could you read through your sickness fog?
I did a little bit. I didn't do a ton of reading. I have one book I can't talk about because I did a very taboo thing and I bought you a Christmas present and I read it to make sure it wasn't bad, so I can't talk about it. I will say, I know that you don't really care. I just don't want to tell you what the actual title is. I went to the bookstore that we've talked about a bunch, the bookseller in Lincoln Square, and picked up some things that I had bought for you for Christmas, and they have like, here are some like throwaway things on the counter that are like, here's a little book that you can pick up, and I saw one and was like, oh, that sounds really fucking good, and so I bought it and was like, I should probably make sure this is actually good instead of getting into like maybe a shitty book, but it's a part of a series, not like the books aren't connected. They're the whole thing. It's called The Haunted Bookshelf. And the idea is they're stories that were originally printed in periodicals that were read during it used to be more of a Christmas tradition to read like spooky ghost stories at Christmas. And so it's a series that has like, I think 30 books in it now that they reprint a couple every year. And I wound up buying the entire set because I liked it so much.
Cool.
So I'm giving you the one that I bought originally for you and read and made sure was good, and bought the rest of them. It's from a Canadian publisher. I literally bought it straight from the publisher. I was like, yes, I would like you to send me every single one of these books, please.
Send me all your tiny books.
I was like, this will be good too, because like it'll be a nice thing that we can do with our kid when he's born, that we like have this, because I won't say who I picked this from up because he sucks, but I used to be part of this Christmas tradition where this family that I was part of for a little while used to pick something that they would all then read a piece of on Christmas Eve, and I always really liked that. Like, everyone would bring something different to Christmas Eve, and I was like, this will be like a nice addition to that. I can like pick one of these off the shelf and use this for the first couple of years. So I I was very excited about that. I highly recommend the Haunted Bookshelf series. So
That's a
I
cute
can't
tradition.
tell you what one I bought for you, but
I won't
you will be
snoop.
getting those. Yeah, you will be getting one of those. I didn't post it on Instagram either. I was just like, we'll just skip this number and no one will ever know. All right. Okay, I only finished reading a couple of things other than the forbidden one I can't talk about. I finished reading a book that I picked for book club. It was not good.
Okay, I'll just swing in here too. We can talk about this together. I am like a pig in shit right now because Erin, this is how our book club works. Emily picks books about death, and they're all like good conversation starters, or they're really good. Erin basically picks books off of like the best of lists, and like
Right.
really, so they're all like great. And then I'm the fucking wild card that comes in, and some of the stuff that I pick is very good, and some of the stuff that I pick is trash, and I'm the one that, you know, brings the wild shit. Erin hasn't had a dud in years, and this is a fucking dud, and it feels very good. because yeah, this is a dud. Because I feel like I've done a good job this year. Like the ones I've picked, I feel like Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Like I did a good job this year. So like I have some redemption this year.
I mean, calm down. You did pick the Siren this year.
No, Siren was last year.
Was it?
I guarantee it was because I got the sequel for Christmas.
No. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Fingersmith, which was also this year.
I'm not taking the fall for that. We've already talked about it.
Fair enough.
And that's easily a book Emily could have picked too.
Yeah, that's true. Fair enough. I picked for book club In a Dark, Dark Wood by Ruth Ware, which I also feel like, man, so many people recommended this. It was on so many like great spooky reads list, and like it was not very good.
It was one of the most predictable books I have ever read in my entire life.
Same. It was like immediately apparent what was going on. And it was just like, these aren't even clues. These are just like flashing neon signs about where this mystery is going. It's barely a mystery.
Yeah, and the like you said, some of the like foreshadowing clues, it was like, well, I know what that is. It's not even like an illusion or a reference. It's like, you just told me what the plot is. And also, like, the funniest part about this book that we kept joking about is the main character is supposed to be like a true crime writer, which we never totally know. Like, she never really talks about what she writes. She just says the like blanket term true crime, and she's like a loner or whatever. But like, she, for somebody who is supposed to be a true crime expert, is a dumb fucking bitch.
She's like almost too dumb to be alive. Like, she suffers from dumbest person on the planet syndrome, which is like, I have a couple of reading nemesises. One of them is very long, unbroken paragraphs that go on for pages, which I have been very vocal about how much I fucking hate that. And the other one is narrators where it's like, you're so stupid. I know that's like not a great word to use, but like, honestly, do you know how to breathe in and out? Like,
if your body didn't do it for you automatically, you would be dead.
Yes, that's what it felt like. It was just like, it was mind-blowing. It was so frustrating how basic the plot felt. It was so strange. Like, I kept expecting it to get better, and it just never did. There was one scene that I was like, okay, this is kind of scary. It was when they went downstairs and the door kept being open. I was like, okay, that's like a personal thing for me. I have a door that's very close to my bedroom, and I like in the middle of the night will wake up sometimes and be like, the door's open. And it literally never is, but like that's a fear of mine. So like that struck for me specifically. But like other than that, it was just like, it was so predictable. It was so upsetting how predictable it was.
Like, predictable books don't like, if a book is predictable, it doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. Like, there are plenty of books that are like, okay, I know where this is going, but I'm having a good time. This was not that book.
No.
Which is a shame, because I feel like you can tell that the author is a good author. Like, she is a good writer. Like, the prose is good. The structure is good. I didn't hate, like, I wasn't like, oh, God. But, like, it's like, I'm a good writer, but I have boring ideas.
Yes, absolutely. It was like, I had this idea, and so I'm going to execute it. And it's like, okay, well, you did a great job executing an idea, but the idea shouldn't have been executed like that. It was just, and it's weird too, because like most of the characters were well-rounded. Like there was like a false villain who in the end you wound up feeling very bad for, who was like structured very well. And yet the plot was just like not good. I wouldn't say it's like the worst book that I've read all year, because again, like the author did a good job writing it. It was just that the plot's bad. Really, truly, unfortunately bad.
Really boring.
Yeah, it was terrible too, because you guys both finished it before I did, and both of you were like, uh-oh, done. So it was just me reading it the whole time being like, God damn it. Why did I pick this dud? I was so disappointed.
Felt good for me, though.
Oh, yeah, I'm aware. Listen, one dud in like 10 years, I think it's pretty fucking good.
You know what? I pride myself on being the wild card. I bring variety and spice.
I bring a lot of variety, but
That's
I bring
true.
stuff that's usually tested and true. Again, that's the thing. So many people said it was good. That's why it was so like upsetting that it was so boring.
I feel like people don't. I don't know. I feel like that happens with a lot of mysteries, like the really popular mysteries. Then I've read them and I'm like, are people who love this genre fucking dumb? Because all the best mysteries I've ever read are something that could also be shelved somewhere else too, like a horror book or a science fiction book or a romance book even. But books that are just about the mystery, I feel like often fall flat a lot.
I feel we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Like you said too, like with romance, like a lot of it can be very predictable. There's like a plot structure that it's built upon. I feel like there are a lot of good mystery books that are also like that, where it's like, okay, these are the tropes and I accept that this is what it is, and like I know that this'll probably be a red herring and this'll kind of shake out in this way, and like that's fine. I like mystery enough that I'm usually fine with that. This was not that book.
Yeah, I think if it accepts that too, like I'm a noir story. Okay, great.
Yes.
But if it's like,
Totally.
it's the like gotcha mysteries that I'm like, oh, get out of here. Can't.
Yeah.
If your purpose is if the point of the book is to obfuscate your like reader, then you're a dick. Like, if that's the point, then it's not a good point.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yep.
My very humble opinion.
Yeah, sure.
Sure, pal.
I finished a book of poetry called Ghost Letters by Badji, which is was one of the nominees for the National Book Award for Poetry. I'd been waiting forever for it to come in from the library. They had to order a copy, and I guess I was the only person waiting for it. I don't know why, since it was nominated for the National Book Award. It had my other nemesis in it. So the way that this was structured, it's a Sinhalese immigrant to the United States who came here as a child. And so he wrote this in a very structured style that's similar to other like immigration stories. And there were 3 types of poems: page-long, unbroken paragraph, stream of consciousness thought.
Your fave.
One that was more like you'd think of like contemporary poetry, where it's like the spacing is all kind of over the place. The page is like visually stimulating because it's kind of like spread out all over the page. And then the other one was 2-line stanzas written more in like a traditional poetry sense. And I really liked 2/3 of it. And it was hard because I was like, maybe I should just skip these long ones that I like hate the structure of. But they set the tone for the next 2. And so it was like, okay, well, if I don't read this, I like completely lose out on where these other 2 poems are structured in. And so I just struggled through the first one in all of the sets. And then the rest of them I really enjoyed. And so I had this very weird reading experience where it was like, if I didn't hate this structure and hate this style so much, I probably would have loved this book. But because I personally cannot stand page-long, unbroken paragraphs, like, it is my nemesis now. Especially because I keep picking up books with them, like, with no warning. It's happened so many times, especially in the last couple of months. It's driving me absolutely nuts. So I enjoyed it, and I would recommend it because I thought his style was really interesting, and I really liked the idea of that, like, rotating 3 of poems and I totally understand why it was nominated for the National Book Award for Poetry, but it was just like, oh my God, I'm struggling so hard to get through this. And then finally I listened to the audiobook for Good Omens, which I had read in the past, and obviously I was bullied into watching the miniseries when you were...
Bullied. It's very good.
I mean, it was very good, and I did enjoy it, but you asked me, like, literally every single day until I watched it. It was really good. I have the narrator's name written down. Hold on one second. My phone closed.
The narrator of that audiobook is particularly good. He does I love his voice for Aziraphale specifically. It's very good.
It was really good. And I really liked, too, that the audiobook structured, like, because the chapters are broken down into the days before the apocalypse, and I liked that at the beginning of every day there was like a selection of classical music, which just felt like it fit the tenor of the audiobook super well. And I don't think I've ever listened to an audiobook that has like really incorporated that, and I really enjoyed it. I thought that was really cool. Narrator of the audiobook that Stella sent me this audiobook, actually, Martin Jarvis, was excellent. Like, he did such a good job. I thought that because, like I said, I've read this before, and so I was familiar with the story, but it had been long enough that I, like, even though I watched the miniseries, like, a year and a half ago, there was enough I didn't remember, like, explicitly, and so it was nice to be able to listen to. And, like, the voice that he used for Ware, I was just like, I never would have thought of her that way, and I really enjoyed the choice that he made. I thought it was really good. All of the horsemen, I thought he made really good and specific choices about their voices. And also, like, I love that Adam Young's voice was, like, kind of an old man. It was like, at first I was like, what is with this?
He is the beginning
and
he is the end.
Yeah, and like, oh, he's like a precocious child, and so it would kind of read in that same way. And so by the end I was like, this was the right choice. This was such a good way to narrate this voice. So it was really good. I really enjoyed it. And that's it. That's all I read this week. These last 2 weeks. What did you read?
Well, I obviously read In a Dark, Dark Wood.
Mm-hmm. We don't need to talk about it anymore.
So I've talked about Alexis Hall as an author a bunch on this podcast. Specifically, they're most famous for boyfriend material. I was all about Rosalind Parker Takes the Cake this year. It's very good. It's definitely making my top 10. Highly recommend. But the big thing that Alexis Hall writes that I'm obsessed with is obviously Kate Kane, Paranormal Investigator. Still got to bring it up every day because it's very good and everyone should read it. So they had a new book come out this week called Murder Most Actual. And the plot of it is it follows this couple, this lesbian couple whose marriage is kind of falling apart. And one of them is like a true crime podcaster. Like she just started a podcast with her friend and it became really, really popular. But so it's like that limbo of like, it's not a real job, but it's kind of a real job because they're like getting booked.
Familiar.
Yes. And then her wife is like, she works in finance or something, but has like a big girl job, right? And they've been together for a long time and their relationship is like tense or whatever. So the finance wife is like, I booked us a romantic getaway in the Scottish Highlands. And the other wife is like, I did not ask for that, but I guess I will go. So they're like already tension. And they go to this estate in the Scottish Highlands and it gets snowed in and there's a murder.
Ooh.
And it follows like a classic murder mystery. Like at one point, one of the wives is like, did you book us a murder mystery? Like, it's because it's so tropey that she's like, is this like one of those like play things where we have to figure it out? And the other wife is like, no, that's a real dead body. And so it's them stuck and trying to figure out what's happening and also stay alive. And the concept is really great. I like the idea of like a podcaster being one of the like main characters. And obviously love queer romance. I think it is interesting that it follows like an established relationship and also an established relationship that's kind of struggling. I liked it. I would give it a 3.5 out of 5. But it was I don't know. I think it would, on one hand, I really liked that it like focused on a relationship that was struggling, but a lot of times I felt like their relationship problems or the way that they discussed it sometimes like bogged down the story a little bit because they'd be like trying to figure out how somebody got poisoned with arsenic and then, you know, they'd pull out like old fly traps or whatever, but they would also be like arguing about like little shit. It was like, I feel like that's kind of relatable, but also like there are a lot of dead bodies and maybe I should like cool it for a little bit. But it is very fun. And especially if you've not read a lot of Alexis Hall, I feel like you would really like it. But just because I have such like a high bar for their stuff,
Right.
it's fun, but it's not like incredible. I wouldn't recommend it over some of their other stuff. This hardly counts, but I want to talk about it because I think it was really interesting. So on Audible, they have a bunch of like stuff that is included, and I obviously read a terrible fucking werewolf book last week, and I was on a tear for a new werewolf book, so I was like going through some of the free stuff, and they had this like radio play. It was only like 2 hours long, maybe even a little bit less. It's called The Werewolf's 15 Minutes by Jonathan Maberry, and it is essentially like a dude gets really high and shows his friends that he's a werewolf. And they're like, what the fuck?
What?
And so they're like, we should make money on this. So they film him transforming and then they put it on YouTube and he gets famous because people are like, that's some of the best special effects I've ever seen. And then but then he's like, no, that's real. And everybody's like, whatever, loser. That's not real. And then they prove that it's real. So then he becomes famous again for being like the world's only werewolf. And then other things happen. And it's like this interesting short radio play about fame and the fickleness of like
Interesting.
media culture of like what's hot and then what turns into a milkshake duck and then like what happens to the people who lose the fame, but it's couched in this like werewolf story.
Weird.
And I think it ends kind of open-ended but in a very satisfying way. I was like, oh, it's 2 hours. I can listen to it, whatever. And I ended up really liking it because it was an interesting take. This is like a really out of left field pull, but like when we were reading Truly Like Lightning by David Duchovny, where you're like, okay, this is a book about Mormonism, whatever. But then it becomes like this scathing rebuke of like Hollywood and media and stuff, and like it kind of is this too, where it's like, oh, I thought this was just like a weird werewolf book, but it's actually about like how social media has like influenced our culture. And so
cool.
if you have Audible and you have an Audible Plus catalog, I would recommend The Werewolf's 15 Minutes.
Dope.
Which is a hilarious thing to say. But I did it. I found a good werewolf book.
Yay! After searching long and hard.
Well, I had a moment because we talked last week where I was like, never read a romance book recommended by a straight person. And I was like, oh, why am I not looking for more like queer werewolf books? So I was like, specifically, I was like, I want lesbian werewolves. Today, I would like lesbian werewolves. Please bring me that, good sir. And so I did a lot of research because there's like, sadly, not a lot of that. I found this book called 5 Moons Rising by Lise MacTague. It is so fucking good. It is a good werewolf book, but it's also just a good book. I had similar vibes. It's not quite as good as Kate Kane Paranormal Investigator, but it was similar vibes of like, oh, I just picked this up because I thought it would be fun, and this is actually quite good. The beta of this werewolf pack, their pack gets attacked, and so their pack is all fucked up, and so she becomes kind of like a loner. And then there's this like hardcore like supernatural hunter, and then they team up to take down this like evil pack. But feelings. It's really good. So it's like a hunter and a werewolf working together. But also, like, they don't get together right away. They have, like, a lot of struggles, and they have to, like, get through their own bullshit and, like, navigate this, like, supernatural world. And there's a really interesting, like, B-plot that I don't want to give away because I think it's a really good twist. It's actually kind of a good mystery, too. Like, you don't know why a lot of things happen. And it's part of a series. I'm really excited because I want to read more. But if you are looking for a good werewolf book, this is a good choice. And if you're looking for a queer werewolf book, also a good choice.
Fantastic.
And then I finally finished Some Things I Still Can't Tell You by Misha Collins, a poetry book that I enjoyed immensely. I don't read as much poetry as Erin does, so I have like maybe more basic opinions, but I thought it was really good, really readable. He comes across as very genuine. There are some poems that are like, okay, whatever, but there are a couple poems that I was like, this fucking rules. This is a good poem. I love this book. I don't even like poetry. And he just comes across very genuine and chaotic. I do not want to spoil it because I think if you have any interest in reading this book, Erin is correct that the title of the book, the poem that it comes from, it is a good swerve. It is. I think it is the right choice for the title of this book and for this person in particular.
Yes,
it is.
I completely agree.
I texted Erin immediately, like a 2-word thing, and she knew without any context that I had gotten to that poem.
Yeah, again, when I tell you I hollered, that is the absolute correct way to describe what happened when I read that poem. I was like, I cannot believe this is where this title came from. It's such a good choice.
Upstairs in my office hiding from my family, and then I read that poem, and then I like ran downstairs to get my phone and just immediately texted you. I was like, threw the book across the room, and I was like, I have to text Erin immediately. It's broken up into sections, so there's like a section of kind of like love poetry, but like the section that I really liked is one called Hope, Joy, Running, and Other Good Things. And there's a couple poems that are like not self-discovery, but like being lost and like being like, who am I? Who do I want to be or whatever? And as I'm sure that's very relatable to a lot of people listening, but it's also like nice to hear that from somebody who's like a very famous, seemingly put together person. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like to be like, oh, okay, this is a universal thing that we all go through, and that's okay. Yeah. Like, because it can be a very isolating experience, especially in the age of like social media and stuff, to be like, to go online and be like, oh, that person looks like they're doing cool shit, and I'm just sitting here in my pajamas feeling sad.
Yeah. One of the poems that really has stuck with me, and I didn't really realize it until like it had been some time since I read it. There is one poem where it's about running, where he runs into like an active forest fire zone.
Yeah.
I really liked that. Part of it was like, sometimes you just make dumb, dangerous choices, even when you're like a rich, very put together person. And so the idea of him being like, yeah, I kind of almost died, huh? I like ran right into this forest fire,
like a fucking idiot.
right past firefighters, and no one said anything to me. I just kept running. Like, I really enjoyed that. And after like some time of letting it digest, that's the one I think about the most.
Yeah, and that's really, I like that one, and I like that that's the last one in that section. And then the next section is longing, sadness, running, and foreboding, and it opens with like kind of a part 2 of that, of like a running situation that has a fire element that has like a negative bias to it, that I thought I like that pairing and the breakup of it.
Yeah.
I want to read this one poem because I thought it was very funny. And I was like, yes, I am this person.
Yeah.
It's called Reread. Yesterday I read a used book whose previous readers had inexhaustible supplies of red and yellow ink, whole chapters highlighted, paragraphs double underlined in straight red rows, and I imagined my young forereader hunched late at a shared table in the Portland State Library, hiding cold surreptitious coffee between his legs, reading lines like, be the running, not the runner, and uncapping his red pen, yet again thinking, yes, that's it, I am the running. I just loved him being like, this book is fucking crazy, and just having this image of somebody like highlighting and being like, yes, I am the running. I really like that one. I really like this one too. I'm going to read another one because whatever. I never read poetry. This is from the same section. It's called The Bell Curve. I invented a game in the 10th grade. We would grade one another. Not grades for tests or courses or even academic years, but we'd assign letter values to one another's whole person. I gave an A- to Tassia and then explained the reasons why. She had a charming laugh and a clever mind, but a bit too much self-doubt to warrant her a solid A. Leaning on the ping pong table, John, my oldest friend, rated me a crushing C. You're too much of a dreamer, said he to me, and the score has struck. I always think I'm drifting too much in my head. But here, rewriting old poems by a window at my desk, I have to say that passing ray, the dreamer C, is good enough for me.
I liked that one a lot, too.
Yeah. It's a passing grade.
Right? Yes.
Oh, man, there was another one. I won't read it, but there was another one where he, like, runs into an old friend. It's called Alessandra. He, like, runs into her in an airport, and she says this line, like, I just know I need to be successful. And he's like, huh, I dodged a bullet with you. Which I thought was a very good and fucked up poem. And if I was that person, I would be like, oh man, my friend just wrote a fucked up poem about me.
This person just read me in poetry.
It made illusions of them like knowing each other in college and then running into each other randomly and then being like, ooh, dodged a bullet with that bitch. I just really liked it.
Relatable.
I thought it was very good, and obviously I like Misha Collins a lot, so like whatever. But if you like poetry but you don't read a lot of it, I think it's like a very accessible.
Yeah,
good
I would
read.
totally agree with that. I said when I finished it that it like there are pieces of it that are kind of basic, but like he has a very individual writer's voice that's clearly him, and I liked that a lot. It wasn't him like trying to pretend to be somebody else or like, I'm a poet, I'm going to write the poetry. Like he clearly wrote a lot of it for himself, and then like he says in the book several times, like, I went back and I rewrote a lot of these poems once I realized they were actually going to be published for people, and like redid some of this. And so I like that idea too of him like, okay, I've grown as a poet and as a writer and as a person, and so going back and like redoing that work too, I feel like a lot of it benefited from that.
I like how self-referential it is too about him writing poetry, and like as somebody who like is a creative whatever, like I like seeing people's processes, I guess,
Mhm.
and so I like
Yeah.
that was folded into his poetry too.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I liked it way more than I thought it was.
Same. I honestly thought it was gonna be like kind of dumb and bad, but like fun because Misha Collins is fun. But like it was actually a legitimately good book.
Yeah. What is your rant this week?
My rant is, I posted about this on Twitter, and I have an additional piece to add to it, which is why I'm gonna rant about it. So I had this conversation with my husband a couple of nights, like a week ago, where he was really high and he was talking about this person who thinks that they know him very well, who does not, family. And he was like, so-and-so barely knows me. They probably don't even know that I like candles. I mean, I don't buy candles, but I light them and I like them a lot. So we're like, that's the tenor of this conversation. And we're just kind of like sitting there hanging out in the living room, and there's candle burning, and he goes, you should buy some candles that smell like Christmas. And I was like, okay, what do you mean, like snow or like trees or
Sugar
like
cookies?
Yeah, it's like, or Christmas cookies, or like, what? I need you to be more specific about what you mean by Christmas. And he takes this long pause and he goes, like, warm Christmas days. And I was like, that's not more helpful. That's actually less helpful.
You're making this harder for me.
I was like, I don't fucking know what that means. And so, because it's like Black Friday time, Bath and Body Works was having an enormous sale on their candles. And see, I like them because I do not buy any food related candles from them. Will not do it. Absolutely not. I like all of
I'm
their
a candle
musky
snob
and...
though. So like that,
Fair
like
enough.
I am a snob about three things. I'm a candle snob, I'm a donut snob, and I'm a tea snob. Like those are the like things that I will look down in your cabinet and be like, "Oh, you have this tea?" Like that those are the things that I'm an asshole about. Candles
Totally.
is one of them for sure.
Oh, I totally get it. And I buy fancy candles too. But if I'm like, okay, I'm looking for a really specific scent,
Well, and I
don't
guess
wanna...
if somebody is like, "Can you get me this weird scent?" and you're like, "I'm gonna spend $5 on this candle," and you tell me if you like it.
Right. And like, they're very much more expensive than $5, but they were, because they were on sale, I was like, all right, I can buy like a bunch of these and kind of figure out what I like. And I think that their tree ones are actually pretty good because they smell like trees. And that's, I want my tree candles to smell like fucking trees, and that's kind of all I'm into. And because I don't like sweet candles and I don't like anything that smells like food, I feel like, all right, I can go with these basic bitch candles and be kind of okay with this. So I bought 18 fucking candles trying to figure out what my husband meant by warm Christmas days, and I bought like a variety of like spices and like ones that are just labeled like joyous Christmas, because I was like, I don't know, what the fuck does joyous Christmas smell like? We're gonna figure it out, I guess. And so they came yesterday. 12 of the 18 came in this like giant ass box, which was sort of packaged well, but packaged not well enough that two of them fucking shattered.
Yikes.
And so I spent a huge part of today trying to like extract pieces of glass from around this candle so I could take all of the wax out and put it into a different container. And it was a nightmare. It was a huge fucking nightmare. And I was like, you are really lucky that I love you a lot. That I went through all these troubles to buy these fucking candles. And now I'm struggling my ass off to like not get glass all over our house. But I was like, here's what we're going to do. You're going to sit on the couch. I'm going to unbox these candles. You're going to smell every single one of them. And you're going to tell me, yes, this is what I meant by Christmas. And we kind of figured it out. It mostly meant trees and spices. And I was like, okay, fine. Now I know that's what you mean by this. I should have guessed that because that's what I like too. But it was a whole fucking process.
You got to get a Fraser fir candle specifically. Like, that's the brand. It's very good.
All right. I will get one of those.
Just go to Hazel.
I mean, I have so many goddamn candles now that I won't need candles for like an entire year, but I will remember that going forward.
Next year, Hazel always carries them. Get the Fraser fir candles. They are expensive. They last a long time. They are fucking worth it.
Yeah.
That's my candle recommendation.
I mean, I totally get it. If I'm not buying basic bitch candles, I will come to you for the recommendations.
Okay. As long as you come to me for the fancy ones.
What is your rant?
It is bullshit that it is hard to get academic articles if you're not a part of some kind of like organization. That's fucking dumb. Like, yes. Why? Like, I hate that all of the like academia shit is behind a paywall. That's so stupid. Okay, I guess I can see the argument, like how newspapers and stuff are of like, well, we need money so that these organizations can thrive. Fine. Okay, I accept that. I don't understand why, like, if somebody pays $40,000 a year to go to college, they should have access to your fucking library for life.
Yes.
Like, technically,
absolutely.
You can get it, and you can get an alumnus thing. You can go in and request shit, but like, that's kind of a pain in the ass. Like, you should just be able to do it, like, without jumping through the hoops. Like, college is so expensive, and you're gonna like make me jump through hoops to get like a 15-page like academic paper. I just paid you like $100,000. Give me the paper.
Right.
I
earned this.
I'm finding the articles that I want and then emailing friends who are still in college and being like, can you pull this for me? Because it will take you less than 10 minutes and it will be free. And if I try and do it, it will be a pain in the ass. I am currently trying to jump through all the hoops to get like my, library, my special library card. But even that is restricted. It's not even everything. Mm-hmm. I just think that's stupid. Dumb. Knowledge and information shouldn't be behind a paywall. That's stupid. I know that I could probably get it illegally, and like if you want it illegally, I'll get it illegally for you. I will be a Sherpa. I don't care. But I just had a moment today because I'm working on the next episode of Spooky 30s, and I was trying to get these articles about the thing, and I was pissed that I had to like jump through all these hoops for it. Let me read about isolationism in Antarctica. Okay? Let me read about
it. That's all I want. Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's a tired and true rant where, like, why is academia and academic writing so fucking purposefully inaccessible? It makes goddamn no sense.
Inaccessible in, like, so many different ways, right? Like, actually
absolutely.
Inaccessible, and then, like, using, like, terminology and words that are unnecessary to make it even more inaccessible.
Right, exactly.
Oh,
dumb.
Dumb. That was it. That was just my, like, passionate, tiny rant. What's
fantastic.
What's your rave?
My rave is that while we did nothing, while Michael was recovering from all of his vaccines and I was recovering from my additional vaccine, we watched the new Beatles documentary on Disney Plus, Get Back. It's really fucking good. It's really good. I really enjoyed it. I was not a Beatles fan growing up. My parents were not into the Beatles. They don't particularly like the Beatles even now. My house was some houses are a Beatles or Rolling Stones house. My house was a Beatles or Elvis house, and we were firmly an Elvis house. I've been an Elvis fan my whole life. He's my dead problematic fave, 100%. Absolutely. And so I got into, this is very typical of who I am as a person. I didn't get into the Beatles until my 24th birthday when I took a shitload of drugs and listened to the Beatles all day. And I had this revelation of oh, this is music for people who do a lot of drugs made by people who did a lot of drugs. And so that's like, that is how I got into the Beatles. I literally like rolled around in my bed, giggling my ass off on like a very nice June day on my birthday, listening to the Beatles, and that's how I got into them. And so I've been a fan since then, and have like learned to appreciate them sober, obviously, because I've been sober for several months being pregnant. And my husband loves the Beatles. The song that we danced to at our wedding, our first dance, was a Beatles song. And so that's like a piece of music. He also loves Elvis. And so we listen to a lot of, and we both love Motown too. And so we both have this like very 60s sense of music appreciation. And the like playlist that we wake up into in the morning has a lot of Beatles on it too. And so we were both really looking forward to this. And so it was released one day at a time starting on Thanksgiving. There's 3 parts. The first 2 parts are like 2.5, almost 3 hours long. And then the third part is like 2 hours almost evenly. And it's about them writing the album that became Let It Be, that they also have that famous rooftop concert. And the idea, what happened was they had stopped performing live as a band, and they had decided they were going to do this like live recorded special, and that they were going to write an album specifically for this special in 2 weeks, which seems fucking impossible. And like, it was such an interesting experience because it's all footage that was taken at the time. There's like, I want to say like 60 hours of footage that was just like vaulted and no one ever used, and Peter Jackson got the rights to use it, and so he directed this special. And I thought they did a great job at the very beginning in the first episode of contextualizing where they were as a group. And like, they've reached like wild amounts of fame at this point, but they're also like 28 years old. And so that, I liked that you get this like context of, yeah, it makes sense that all of their relationships are deeply fractured. Like, that's what happens when you're 28. You've been friends with these people since you were fucking 16. You've gone through massive life-changing events with them, and now you're just different people. And one of the things that happens while they're recording this album is George Harrison quits the band and literally leaves and is like, peace out, bitches. You guys suck. I'm done with this.
You know who sucks?
And,
you guys.
And like, I thought that Peter Jackson did a great job with the footage, because I think that there was like 30 minutes leading up to him leaving where it was just like, wow, I would leave too. Like, if I was experiencing this, because it was them basically being like, do less, we don't like your songs, how about you just do less? And he finally gets up and they're like, let's take lunch. And he was like, let's take forever. I'll never see you again.
You know what? I'll be taking my lunch forever. Goodbye.
And I really liked it. And so I found the first 2 episodes really interesting about this like deeply fractured relationship and what that was like, and the way that Paul and John had already started to butt heads. Yoko is there, glued to his side the whole time, and so you get this like look at like, wow, that would have been really hard to try to do this thing to do your job and to have one of your bandmates' girlfriends just there fucking constantly. I was like, man, I feel like that would also drive me insane if someone just like if we were doing extracts and Nick was like, I need to sit next to you the entire time we're doing this, I'd be like, I'm gonna punch you in the face. You have to get out of here.
While we're in the recording studio.
Yes, exactly. Like, get out of here. This is not necessary. But then the last episode is about the concert, which they've spent all this time, like, it's been recontextualized, and they're like, all right, well, we're gonna do this one thing, never mind, let's do this other thing. And then in the end, they just decide, like, literally, let's go up on the roof and have this concert. And it turns into, like, almost like a farce, because it's, no one can see them, they can hear them, but they can't like actually see them up on the roof because they're up high enough that the people on the street can't see what's going on. So you get this like, I really enjoyed it because a huge part of the Beatles fame is about teenagers and about the way that teen girls specifically were really into their music. But what happens is, because they're doing this in the middle of the day in a business district, it's like old people and like actual adults who are out there, and so you get this very different sense of what their fan base was like, and I really enjoyed that part of it. And then you also get the cops who are like, we have to stop this. Like, you don't have a noise permit. It is literally the middle of the day, and it turns into this like cop farce, which is, you're like waiting for them to get arrested at any fucking moment, basically. It was just really enjoyable. I knew I was gonna like it because I like the Beatles a lot, but I was just shocked by how much I really enjoyed it. And to watch them just like sit around and be musical geniuses, basically, and like improv some of the like greatest songs they ever wrote was fascinating. Like, Oh Darling is a fucking great song, and they just don't even mention it, and then they're like, Paul popped by to write a demo, and it's just Oh Darling. He just like pops that shit out of nowhere, and you're like, what the fuck? This is unfair. So I highly recommend it. It is really long, and like you do need to put some time into it because it's like almost 7 hours long between the 3 episodes, but it was really fucking good. So I highly recommend it. Even if you don't really like the Beatles, the story of their relationship I thought was so interesting that I would still recommend it. What is your rave?
It's so dumb after your like legitimate, well thought out rave. I have rediscovered the joys of eBay. I have been doing a lot of fun hunting and bidding on things. Specifically, I get a lot of like old Star Trek books and Star Trek, like a lot of my fanzines and stuff I'll find on there because, you know, it's something easily that somebody will like sell in an estate sale and be like, yeah, somebody maybe wants this. So I like find a lot of my Star Trek vintage shit on there for like really good deals. But I've also, I hate that I'm into this, but like, no, everybody who's listening to this is going to roll their eyes and be like, it was only a matter of time. But I was like, I really want these Supernatural Funko Pops, like, and they are not made anymore. And so they're like very expensive, but I don't care about the boxes. Because like I'm not that type of nerd. I had a kid over for Thanksgiving and I was like, you want to play with these? I mean, they're literally toys. She picked Daenerys Targaryen, Chun-Li, Mira Universe Uhura, and Blanche from the Golden Girls.
I love that so much.
Yeah, Chun-Li, Uhura, and Daenerys were like this group of girls who were like going on investigations, and Blanche was the unicorn doctor.
I love it.
Incredible. So like I want them out of the box anyway. So I've been like doing like hunts and dives to find like things that are still in good condition, or like maybe the box is damaged, so it's like crazy amounts of money off. And it's silly that I'm spending my money on this, but it's also kind of fun to like do the like watch the bidding and try and find the good deals and stuff on these stupid fucking toys. And we have a friend, Ben, who's really into Funko Pops, like extremely into Funko Pops. Like he is somebody who keeps them in the box and has like these special like box displays and stuff. But it's been fun because I'll text him and be like, look what I got for X amount of dollars. And he's like, hell yeah, that's a great deal. And so it's been a fun way. Like Ben's a very good friend of mine, but it's been a fun thing to like add that layer to our friendship to be like, look what I got. Hey, I got Leviathan Cast, which retails for like $80+. I got that for like $35. Like that's a good fucking deal.
That is a good deal.
That one was in box, but the box had a blemish, and I like got it, and it has like a little tear, and I was like, this is fucking stupid. And I showed it to Ben, and Ben goes, I mean, it's kind of a big blemish. I was like, we are different people, but we are coming together on this search. But yeah, it's just been like it's a way to get, you know, I guess shopping endorphins, but also like it is a fun use of my time, and I find it like actually pretty relaxing because like I don't bid on stuff every day, but like to like go and be like, okay, this one I found, okay, well I could wait, like it's just like a fun, like it's like a gamification of shopping, right? Like that's exactly what it is. And it is like weirdly distressing for me, even if I'm not putting bids on stuff. I'm
de-stressing, not like distressing.
Yes, de-stressing. I'm less stressed while I do this.
Okay, good.
Though I'm sure it could take a distressing turn. We'll see.
At any moment, truly.
At any moment. There's a couple of them that I like really want, but I'm like, Nick would kill me if he came home and he'd be like, I know how much this retails for because you talked about it. Where did this come from? I got a really good deal. So yeah, that's been fun, I guess. We didn't really talk about wrestling this week. It's been WWE has been not great. The end.
Shocking, sure.
There's some good stuff. I think Survivor Series was actually, I think everybody's expectations for Survivor Series were so low because they did such a shit job setting it up that I think most people walked away being like, that was a pretty good show. Like I think the Roman Reigns Big E title match is worth watching. Like I thought that was quite good. And there were definitely good moments, but like It is also distressing that Survivor Series, this Big Four, or previously known as a Big Four, was like treated so cavalier. Like, I guess we got a pay-per-view next week. Do some stuff.
Do some stuff. It's fine.
Do some stuff. And there was a whole I mean, you know this because you muted this word, but there was a whole plot line with like a gold egg.
I refuse to understand it. I don't even want to know.
It's just a prop from the new Rock movie, and so they got paid to feature that prop and talk about the movie Red Notice a bunch. That's it. That's all you need to know.
That's enough.
I mean, that is enough. Though, baller move to have like a 25th anniversary of The Rock and like celebrate him and his new movie and have The Rock not show up. The Rock was like, I'm too famous for this. I can't deal with this bullshit. Feel free to celebrate me in my absence.
That rules.
Which is
I like
a
that a lot.
baller-ass move.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking baller.
My legacy is so entrenched deeply in this company that I don't even have to be there. Deuces.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
He's not wrong. Let's do a question or two from our big stack of questions that fell out of the sky. And we'll see if Erin pulls one that we've answered 6 times.
That's the way this goes.
We need to make a new stack of questions.
I think we actually do. We're getting to the end of them. Would you rather be able to dodge anything no matter how fast it's moving, or be able to ask any 3 questions and have them answered accurately?
Any 3 questions of different people. Like each person I get a 3 question, or it's just any 3 questions, I just get 3 questions.
No, like you can ask anybody 3 questions. It's not like you can only dodge one thing quickly one time. So it's like the same concept.
Okay. Honestly, my gut is dodge things. Because I feel like I'm not like a detective, like, right? Like, I don't have a job that would be, and I feel like a lot of the questions I would ask would be like emotionally distressing. Like I don't need to know how you really feel about me. Let me just figure it out. Like, and if it's like a question with like a yes or no answer or something, I could just like look it up. Whereas I am pretty clumsy and I run into shit a lot. And I have a lot, like I go to the doctor and she's like, what's this bruise? And I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea.
Could be anything.
I ran into several things this week. I have no idea. So it would be really helpful to be able to dodge things.
I also feel like I would do reckless shit if I knew that I could dodge anything. That would be awesome.
You're like, watch me jump over this train track.
Yeah. You're just like sucked up into the air. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, it seems like it's a real superpower, right? Like if you told you told somebody like, "Oh, I can ask like questions and get real answers," they would be like, "Okay, fine, I can do that too." And you're like, "No, I get real answers," and they're like, "Yeah, no, I get answers too. What are we talking about?"
Yeah, but like, that's I feel like if you wanted to be like a spy, that's the way to do it. Or if you're like my favorite shit, if you wanted to do like an art heist, you just ask every single guard in the entire building like 3 questions about security, and you could plan something like that. That's where I think that would come in handy.
I would use that power so recklessly, and I would just go to fan conventions and ask actors things and fuck them over really bad and be like, "Are you a racist? I just need to know. Have you ever sexually assaulted anyone? I need to know before I fully invest in you."
See, I think that would be really useful.
I need to know. The people deserve to know. Are you a shitbag or not?
That blanket one, that's the way to ask. Are you a shitbag?
Yeah, but they could have follow-up questions. Define shitbag.
But it says you have it answered accurately. So that's like, you'll know whether it's true or not.
Have you committed any felonies?
See, but that's a rough one. Like, I've committed felonies. I've definitely committed felonies.
That's true. I would have to have like the 3. I would have to come up with a checklist.
Yeah, for sure.
How to either improve / ruin these celebrities' lives.
Perfect.
Just need to know. I just want to go up to Chris Pine and be like, "Did you write a romance novel? Yes or no? Also, do you still have it?"
Did you write a romance novel? Yes or no? Yes. Give me the title of it.
Give it to me.
Did Chris Pine, is he rumored to have written a romance novel?
Yes.
What?
It's a rumor. And I want to know.
I don't need any other additional information, and I know the answer is yes. He definitely did.
I just want to read it.
I just need to know.
I love it. My mom came out with some wild opinions, pop culture opinions, this past visit. She told me that she didn't like Birds of Prey that much because the Joker wasn't in it, and I thought I was going to have an aneurysm.
Yikes.
She said that the Daredevil movie was pretty good, and I was like, go down to the basement and watch Netflix Daredevil immediately, which to her credit she did, and she does enjoy. But she also said, I just don't think Chris Pine's that attractive, and I was like, I can't do this. I need you to leave the room. I was like, do you need to see the gif of him eating a Pop-Tart?
Yeah, but your mom is into, like, Vincent D'Onofrio. I feel like that's an understandable
I'm into Vincent D'Onofrio, too, because, like, he's big and scary, and I'm into that. But also, like, Chris Pine is objectively an angel. Like,
yeah, but you're also a queer person, and that box makes sense that it's all checked in both directions.
He eats Pop-Tarts and writes romance novels. He's perfect.
He's perfect. Oh my god. All right. One more question. Would you rather see what was behind every closed door or be able to guess the combination of every safe on the first try?
Combination. I don't need to know people's secrets. I don't need to see them going to the bathroom. I don't need to see them picking their nose. I don't need to see them having emotional breakdowns. I don't need to see them fucking. I don't need to see them, like, I don't need to see.
But it's not just about people, it's about stuff,
but
too.
if you see behind everything, like, I feel like I would accidentally see a bunch of stuff that I did not want to see.
That's true.
And what if I see, like, a crime happening and I'm like, oh, what is my moral obligation here?
Like how your reaction to seeing crime is like, God, I have to do something.
Well, it's like, yeah, but what is my moral scale? Like, is it a robbery? Do I get involved? Maybe not. Is it like an assault? Yeah, I have to get involved. like I don't want to see everybody's bullshit.
Fair enough. That's fair enough. I would agree that I would want to be able to crack every safe. I feel like that
feels like a fun party
skill.
trick.
Also, art heist.
Also, like, sometimes, I assume this also just means, like, locks. Like, if I got locked out of my house, I could just pick the lock.
I don't think so. I think it just safes.
It's just safes?
Like a combination, yeah. Although if
Okay.
someone has a safe lock on their door,
That's
you'd
true.
be able to guess the combination.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't even want to perpetuate an art heist. I just feel like the other one is too overwhelming for me. I don't need that.
Being able to read people's thoughts, where it's like, Can I control it? If I can control it, that's different.
But even if you can control your power, you sometimes lose control of your power, and I don't need to be seeing this stuff.
Fair enough. I'll accept that. That's fine.
I don't need a Jean Grey Phoenix situation, okay? Just put a safe in front of me. I'll get what's out of the safe. Oh, but see, like, what if somebody, like, learns about my safe cracking skills and then I get kidnapped and then I have to go on all of these, like, safe cracking heists and I'm, like, a prisoner.
Yeah, you're, like, forced to do it. That's the thing. Not all powers are always good. You can't really do it as a party trick. It has to be something that you keep private and you only let people know who won't kidnap you.
Or the government will come and use my brain and do a brain suck.
Brain suck!
I don't want the government to brain suck me. See, that's the thing. When we ask these questions about superpowers, like, I don't want to be a lab rat.
For real.
I keep my superpowers to myself.
Yep. That's...
Unless it's, like, an offensive one, right? Because, like, if you have an offensive one, at least you can, like, fight back a little bit. For instance,
sort of.
If you have a shadow that sucks people into a black hole.
Yeah, but look what happened to Tony Shalhoub. He's locked in a lab rat situation.
Well, he should have killed X, okay? That's on him.
I know. Almost a villain origin story, and if he had killed X, that would have been it. He would have been a full villain.
Yeah. Anyways, listen to Extracts in several months.
I was gonna say in like 4 months.
All right, that's it. That's the podcast.
You can find us on the internet. You can tweet at our production company at NYD Productions on Twitter and Instagram, and you can use the hashtag #NotYourDemoPod in order to interact with us.
It's been the same hashtag for years, bro.
I know. I have pregnancy brain. I can barely remember my own name.
I'm pregnant. You can email us
Dude.
at notyourdemo@gmail.com.
As an aside, he kicks me so fucking hard sometimes from the inside. It literally jerks my entire torso forward. Like, I'm at that point where I was like laying in bed and I just like jerked forward and Michael was like, what the fuck was that? I was like, he kicked me really hard.
He's a dick, our son.
Yes, our son. Are you surprised? You can follow me on Instagram at NYDUrgency. I just posted a photo of how pregnant I am if you'd like to see what that looks like.
I do want to see that. I haven't been on your Instagram. You can follow me on Twitter at Stella_cheeks. And you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/NYD Productions, where you get behind the scenes stuff for this podcast, for extracts, for Spooky 30s, extra podcasts like Unofficial Channels and Every Mini Ever. And also access to our patron-only Discord for as little as $1. But you can give more money if you want. Maybe,
yeah, absolutely.
Maybe you should. Give me some money. I want new mics. Oh, I did see this. You are very pregnant.
Yes, I'm very pregnant.
I saw you yesterday. You're very pregnant.
Yeah. But there is something about like seeing a photo of it as opposed to like seeing me in motion. You're like, you can do a lot still. And then you see a photo and you're like, whoa, what the fuck?
I don't know. I watch you get up and down from a couch. I get it.
Yeah, it's rough. Every day I get out of my work chair and Michael just laughs at me. And I'm like, I can't help it.
That's so funny.
I have like 11 weeks left in this shit.
That's not a lot of time, Erin.
I'm very aware. It feels like both forever and also like, fuck, it's only 11 weeks.
It's stressing me out.
For real, bro. For real. I gotta build a crib. I got so much shit to do. I have to take birthing classes still. I don't want to do that.
I don't know. I feel like you've seen enough movies. You probably know how to do it.
I gotta learn the breathing. I don't know.
Yeah, you've seen the movies. Just like, in and out. You got it.
Yeah, don't worry about it, doctor. I'm not going to sign up for these classes. I've seen movies. I'm sure she'll take that well.
Just give me some chloroform and some whiskey and let's do it.
Let's go for it. I mean, if I have my way, I'm having a C-section. So who needs breathing?
And then you can be like, you were from your mother's womb untimely ripped to your child.
That's fucking right. You are no man of woman born.
Just like yelling at your child, like, what the hell, Mom?
I can't wait.
Can't wait to traumatize my child in Shakespeare.
Yeah, that's...
Correct.
Correct. All right, anyway, mark out.
Fuck off.